Okay, today we are going to be using the line tool, the circle tool, and the pen tool. So first thing, we are going to create a straight line. And how we're going to do this is in our toolbar, we are going to use the straight line segment tool. Click that. Now notice this is something we're going to get used to. It's just going to take some time, but at the top here, we've got some boxes with a dash through them. Or you might have a color filled in here. Or you don't have anything in this one, but you have a color in this one. But most of you should have the dashes, which means you don't have any color. So any shape you make, any line you make, won't have a color until you give it. Now, the box with the little box inside of it means that is the outline stroke color. And that will give any line, any outline of an object, a color. The box to the left of it, this first box here, is a fill color, like your paint tool, your paint bucket tool, like you're pouring a color into a shape. So that will change the shape color. So the first thing we're doing is creating a line. So we're going to change the line color. So I'm going to go here at the top, and let's pick just black. Notice here, it also changed. This is another nice quick way to change your colors. Also, this little arrow guy will swap whatever color you have in the fill color, your object color, or your stroke color. You can swap it by clicking the arrow. Now I just want the outline to be black, so I'm just going to use that. So here, I'm also going to be teaching you a couple keyboard tricks, some keyboard little shortcuts. And a way to zoom in on your keyboard is to hold the Command key and the plus, and you can zoom in. Also, you can just use what you can go up here at the top. It's been so long since I've actually looked up here. No, it's actually in your toolbar. You have a little zoom tool, you can click that. And you can zoom in, and to zoom out, you hold the Option or Alt key and zoom out. That just takes forever. I just like to hold Command, plus, zoom in, Command minus, the minus key on your keyboard, zooms out. So these are, if I ever see you using that magnifying glass or trying to zoom in any other way, I'm going to get on your tail. I want you to do some quick keystrokes. Command again, plus to zoom in, Command minus to zoom out. So I want to make some straight lines. So I'm going to get my line tool. And what I want you to do is start at the first X and hold your mouse down when you click and drag it to the next point. Let go. You've got a nice line. Click again. Hold the mouse down. Drag to the next point. Let go. And then keep on going. Click, drag, hold it down to the next one, and go all the way through this line segment. Once you get the hang of that, we can move on to the shapes. This is your straight line tool. That allows you to have any kind of straight line. If you just click without holding, it'll ask you, oh, how long of a line do you want? So instead of going through all that math, just draw it by holding and dragging. Now we are going to create a couple circles using your shape tool. Over here you might have it already on the rectangle and it looks like this. So all you have to do is hold your cursor down on it and change it to the ellipse tool. Now, I wrote at the bottom here that the Shift key will become your best friend, and here's why. If you hold the Shift key when you're making a circle, let's just start by clicking and holding down and dragging and turning and making a circle here. I can move it and turn it to a kind of size, oblong, oval shape. But if I hold the Shift key on my keyboard, it makes a perfect circle. So I'm going to make that circle. Now notice that my circle is just with an outline. That's because the stroke color is filled. But I want to fill the entire circle with a color. So I could either just get rid of this color by going here, or I could do that quick trick I showed you earlier with the little arrow down here and just give it the fill. So now these selection tools, if I went over here and tried to grab this circle, I can't. I'm just going to make another shape because I'm in the shape tool. But to select any object, I go to my selection tool, the black cursor. The white cursor is a direct selection tool which gets really detailed points. I just want a regular selection tool and grab my circle here I'm like, it's a little small. I wanna make this a little bigger. So, like you're making any kind of image bigger, I'm gonna get this end here, this corner, and drag it. But if I drag it without holding the shift key, I can change the shape and it's not gonna be a perfect circle. So you need to hold the shift key. So I'm holding and dragging. Still not as big as I would like. I'll go to this corner, hold the shift key, drag it, and I'm getting even closer to that shape. So I want you to get as close to that circle shape as possible. There we go. Now I'm going to move it over here. I need to make another small circle here. And I'm going to get my circle tool out here. Holding my mouse down and holding the shift key will make a perfect circle. I'm going to select it. Yep, it's about close enough. Maybe make it a little bigger. Move it to fit the size. Now I want this to be white. So I'm going to change the color. White. And your Illustrator will try to lock and find centers and things to line up. So if you find the center of your original object, you can just plop it in there. Now I'm going to make another circle, last circle here, holding the shift key to make a perfect circle. I've made a shape. Oop, look, it's white. I don't want it white, but I also want to make sure it's the right size. So I'm making it the right size of this little circle. Adjusting. Okay, that's about close enough, but I don't want it white, so I'm going to change it to black. I'm going to put it back in my little circle here, and voila! I can select all of it, but oh, I have this selected over here. I don't want that. So another way to use the shift key, if you're trying to select something and you're like, oh, but I don't want to move that with it because no, that's not what I want to do. If you hold this shift key, it's holding onto your selection, and if you click whatever you don't want, it lets go of it. Then I did that by holding the shift key down on my keyboard. Shift key is going to become your best friend. Move it over. There we go. Beautiful. Now we're going to use the pen tool. And over here in our toolbox, we have this little pen nib. And so we're going to click it, and that's a pen tool. Now, notice at the top, you want to make sure you've got a color for this pen tool. Yours might still have it. I'm going to pick black. Oh, but that's the fill color. I almost made an error. It's going to fill a shape. I don't want a shape just yet. I just want the stroke, the outline. So I'm going to change that to black. Okay, now we're ready to go. I'm going to start at one corner and drop a point down. And when I go drop one point and another point, it creates a line. And if I move my mouse around after I held that point down, held my mouse clicker down, it starts to create a curve. So you can trace any object, any shape by doing that. So I'm going to undo by Command Z, undo. Nice quick keyboard trick. And I want to trace this shape right here. So I'm going to drop a point down here, but that line is way too straight. I want to curve it. So I'm going to move my mouse. I'm holding that point down. I'm holding my mouse down. I'm going to move, and bam, I've got a nice curved line. Now, if I were to just drop another point down here, it's going to want to follow that curve that I just created, so it's not going to be a straight line. So a way to get rid of that curve, first off, undoing, Command Z, is to hold the Alt key. So if I hold the Alt key and I click that dot, it gets rid of that curve, so the next line I make is going to be completely straight, like that. Next I have one last curve, so I'm going to go to that last point, hold my mouse down, and kind of drag it, making that curve just right. And I've just created a shape. If I click my selection tool, I've got a nice shape here, look at that. And now I want to fill it with whatever color I want. And I'm going to pick, I don't want a stroke color, so I'm getting rid of the stroke. And I'm going to pick a fill color, and let's go with green. There's my shape. Not perfect, and I don't expect yours to be perfect, as close as you can get it. Now we're going to do the next one, and I want you to complete this entire shape by using your pen tool. This will really get you used to tracing with the pen tool. Really nifty tool that's going to come in handy to trace any shape, any picture you find off the internet. If you get done with this assignment before the period is over, scroll over here, and these are my instructions. Find an image off the internet and copy it by holding the Control button down and clicking with your mouse, because you don't have a right clicker on your mouse in the Mac Lab. So if you go to the internet and you find an image you want, you hold the Command Control key on your keyboard and click, and it right clicks, and you can copy the image, go back to your Illustrator, paste it by using Command V, and there's your image. I'm going to zoom out. Do you remember how to zoom out? Command minus. There's my image, and you can trace that image wherever in your document. You can make it smaller. When you change the size of any object, hold the Shift key or it'll distort it. Hold the Shift key on your keyboard. If I didn't hold the Shift key, here's what happens. Whoop, I can make it long and weird. It doesn't hold its shape. So, if you get done with this assignment, I want you to find an image off the internet and trace that image with the pen tool. And you can do it anywhere in this document, off to the side here. It'll all show up when you turn it in to me on Edmodo. Now, the last part is to save it into Edmodo. Make sure you go to the assignment like we did the day before and click the Turn In button on Edmodo, and make sure once you've saved this document that you turn it in to me, you find where you saved it, and it's saved like this. A lot of you have not been saving your document, titling it the name of whatever the assignment is, underscore, and your last name. And this is super important. Make sure the .ai is still there. That helps the computers recognize this is an Illustrator document and nothing else. So for example, I'm going to go up here, File, Save As. I'm on my personal laptop, so it's not going to look the same, but say I were to save it on my desktop, I'm going to save it. The assignment is called Line Shape. Notice the AI is still there, so line shape underscore my last name, Rojas. That .ai is still there. I'm going to save it. Okay? And you are done. Once you finish, go to this next screen, hit OK, and find that document and turn it into me on Edmodo.